And I'll tell you guys since we're all friends. Every character I write has a piece of me in them. Hi, I'm Lee Bardugo. You're listening to the GrishaCast.
Welcome to GrishaCast, episode 147. In this episode, we will be discussing chapters 18 through 21 from Hellbent. This is your host, Eric, and Terry will be back with us next episode. From Nashville, Tennessee, this is your podcast for all things Grishaverse, a world created by the creator of the Lethe Armory catalog, Lee Bardugo. Moi savieni, casters. Hi. Yep. It's me, and Terry will be back with us shortly. I'm really excited. She's still putting everything back together after having COVID, and we've missed her, but she will be back next episode, and I know you guys will be really excited about that because we're going to be covering some really cool stuff. I'll get to that later. So I'm not going to be just hosting this podcast with Lucy. Or Chris. I actually have a really good friend joining me, and my friend Joseph I've wanted him to be on this podcast for a really long time. I'm really glad that this worked out. We've had some amazing conversations about Ninth House and Hellbent, so it's really great that we actually will be having him here with us now. So, without further ado, I introduce to you Joseph. Hi, Joseph.
Hi, Eric. How are you?
I am so good. I'm so glad you're here.
I am so glad to be here. Greetings from Florida.
Oh, wow. What's the weather like? Really warm and sticky?
It has been dry. It has been dry for about a month, but today it rained.
Oh, okay.
So, but it has been hot.
Yeah.
It's always hot and humid.
You guys don't have much of a winter, I'm guessing?
Not much of a winter. If it gets down to 58 one day, that's pretty much what winter is here.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, it's actually surprisingly chilly here in Nashville, but I have a feeling that's going to turn around real quickly because spring is right around the corner, supposedly. So I know our listeners haven't heard from you before. I would love to introduce them to you, but I don't want to talk. So, I want you to tell us about yourself, and yeah.
Well, I got into Lee Bardugo's work because my daughter came to me and said, I've been reading these books and I can't get any of my friends to read them, and I want to talk about them. Will you read these books? And how could I say no to that? So I said, of course I'll read these books. And so I didn't know what I was getting into. So I started. Strangely enough, I didn't start with Shadow and Bone. I started with Six of Crows. I think I've heard a lot of people do that. So I got in with Six of Crows, then did Crooked Kingdom, then went through the original trilogy, and now I'm ahead of her. She hasn't read the last two Grisha books yet.
Oh, wow.
She hasn't read Rule of Wolves or King of Scars yet. I'm getting on her about it because now I want to talk about them, right?
Yeah.
But sometime in the interim, I also got into Ninth House, which is right up my alley because of the ceremonial magic. I am a tarot reader and intuitive. I give person-to-person readings using tarot cards. Also do charm casting and also yes-no osteomancy using bones.
That's incredible. And that's so awesome. I think that's one reason that I just know that I've really enjoyed the conversations we've had, especially about Ninth House and Hellbent, the whole Alex series, I think is what I call it in my head, just because of your background and some of the conversations we've had. You've helped enlighten me that Lee didn't just come up with all this stuff. This isn't just like a whole magic system. A lot of it is based off of real things in this world that people practice and use, and I find that fascinating.
It's absolutely true. I've drawn for you a couple of circles that were talked about in Hellbent as I saw them, because they weren't given a lot of detail in the book, so I kind of imagined them as they were as they were spoken about, and I drew the Solomon's knot as well for you not long ago.
Yes.
Talk about in Hellbent.
Yeah. If any of you guys are followers of our Instagram, then you've actually seen Joe's work and Joseph's work. Yeah, I think it's incredible because they it really helps bring the story together. Just seeing an actual image of, I call it the protection circles. I don't know if that's the correct term, but you did a great job of drawing those. Just because it really brings to life what they were working with, and they usually use salt. Is that right? Like, I mean, I feel like salt is something.
In ceremony in real world ceremonial magic, most of the time, if there's a circle that's actually being drawn, it's usually drawn with a chalk that's made out of eggshells.
Okay. Is it?
Eggshells are highly protective.
Wow. Is that
Mhm.
because the egg is like, I think I've symbolic of like life, and or is that?
Yes, and the shell protects the egg.
Oh,
So we take the shells and we grind them up into a powder, and they get mixed with usually cornstarch and water. You make kind of a paper mache looking thing, and then you shape them into chalk
wow. That's
and
really
let them
cool.
dry. So we use that a lot.
Uh,
A lot of times, circles are just cast with will, though.
Okay. And I think
They
it,
just exist as an idea.
yeah. In I think they add, like, I think in Alex has used chalk that, don't they have like graveyard? Like, I think there's something graveyard dust or some. I can't remember it. Maybe it's crushed up bone. I think they say.
It is.
Okay, that's what it was. Graveyard dust. What is graveyard dust? Yeah, no. Um, that is really cool. I love that. So, gosh, so do you
Well,
have to make your own chalk then?
Uh, actually, around here in South Florida, I've tried making it just because I wanted to see what it was like to make it. But most of the time, it's easy to get around here because in South Florida, there's a lot of various spiritual practices, from basic witchcraft to Santeria to other sorts of things. So they usually you can go. There are usually shops around where you can buy things like that.
That's fantastic. Wow, that's really cool. I love that. Wow, that's at your fingertips. I don't think I haven't seen it at any of the stores around here. I the closest that we can get is probably your smudge stick. um,
Sure.
but yeah, that's so cool. I love that. So I think we should just kind of dive into Hellbent because we've already kind of started. And first off, I want to ask you, like, I know everybody was excited when Hellbent came out, and I think everybody read it real quickly. You finished this book already, correct?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Did it surprise you? Did you like it? What were your thoughts about Hellbent as a collective? Like,
I love the book. I love some of the relationships between the characters. I love the way some characters that were minor characters in Ninth House become more important characters in Hellbent, like Mercy, for example.
yeah, absolutely.
We're about to get into how Mercy becomes a very big part of everything.
Yeah, it is surprising. I do agree with that. I didn't expect that either. And yeah, so we can discuss, like, I mean, the people that are listening have read these chapters, so we can just bounce around all you want. It does not matter. But Mercy, yeah, I mean, we might as well talk about her. That is a huge surprise. I did not expect her to play such a big role in this book. We haven't seen how big of a role yet, but we do. We know it's going to get bigger, but it's really neat to see how much she progresses as a character and actually becomes a part of this. I love specifically this section we where Alex introduces her to Lethe, pretty much.
Right. And it was a couple of chapters ago that she basically spilled the whole tea.
Yes.
about what Lethe was up to and what was going on, and magic is real, and it's also really, really gross
Right.
and super dangerous, and that whole conversation. What happens uh, in the chapters we're covering today is Dawes finds out that Mercy knows,
Right.
and of course Dawes is horrified.
Yes. Something that's supposed to be a secret now isn't so much a secret.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Dawes is a funny she's Dawes is
I
another
love
character.
Dawes.
Yeah, and we get to
I
learn so
love Dawes.
much. Yeah, it's really neat to see her progress. We've got to learn so much more about Dawes, but Mercy really came out of nowhere for me. I did not expect that she was going to be one. She now is a member of Lethe, and I love that Alex said that. She's like, I mean,
De facto, yeah.
yeah, like welcome to Lethe. Um, and but one of the biggest things I think is like starting out in chapter 18, we actually got introduced to a pretty horrifying man. He is the new okay, Alec
Reader.
Preeter. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah, he is definitely not what I think Alex was expecting, or Dawes. Some of the things he says is just insane.
Oh, he's the worst.
Yeah, and especially to like speaking to Alex, you'd think that if you had such like I don't know, he's very old school in a sense that it's just like I don't know, it's very anti women, like it's just men are the only ones that can pretty much prosper in his world in his head, and I can't believe that when he's talking to Alex, um, he's even like he's saying that like out loud to a woman like yeah I don't believe that you should have the role that you play today in Lethe. That just blows my
He
mind.
doesn't even believe women should be at Yale.
Yeah. I forgot that. Yeah, it it's
He
so
writes opinion papers for the Federalist, which is which is a website that is it's a politically conservative website
that,
in real life.
that is crazy. Yeah, and it's such a weird thing because I can't picture this person actually being a member of Lethe, like something that's so it just it blows my mind. It seems also, I think it's funny that when Alex is done with her meeting with him, when she goes back to Dawes and is expressing how, like, the horrifying experience she just had, but finding out that, I mean, they think that he was the last person to ever be, like, offered this job. And I thought that was really funny. Like, the last person to be, nobody was lining up, as Alex says.
Right.
Uh,
Well, the beautiful thing about that scene is that Alex plays him, but she's looking for an in. She's looking for a strategic weakness in his armor from the very get go of their meeting. And she finds it. She looks at all the pictures, and uh, she basically tells him that, you know, he sees basically what she assumes is his old boyfriend
right.
in the room.
Yes. And
So he becomes totally vulnerable in that moment.
exactly, and it's really smart of Alex, to be able to, like, I don't know, one, realize she's not gonna be able to get rid of this guy right now, and he is in charge of a lot of different things, and she's gonna need him to kind of not trust her, but at least something. They're gonna have to have a relationship, so she realizes, like, I might as well try to have the upper hand because he already looks down on me because I'm a woman and I'm in Lethe, and I and he has no like I guess he's read files on Alex, so he knows that
Mhm.
she can see grays, and she really gains a lot of control there because she's like, I can see grays, I can't hear them, and
I'm not a Ouija board.
yes, exactly, which is amazing, and he's just such a it's so funny that that he comes into this chapter, and what do you I don't expect you to remember, but they mentioned what what house he was a member of. Wait, hold on. I think I'm gonna remember. Not house. Am I thinking house? No. What he was in what society? Maybe they didn't mention it. Am I
I don't
going
think they
crazy?
did. Apart from Lethe, I don't know what, because almost I think back in those days the members of Lethe were part of one of the societies and they were chosen from the societies.
That's right. Okay, I have gone
But
crazy.
I don't think they ever mention it. I don't think they mention it.
No, because it makes no sense. Because I just literally had a crazy moment. Don't worry, Joseph. That is me. I go off on my mind and goes off in tangents, and I start thinking of all these other crazy things. Yes, that makes total sense. Of course, he's part of Lethe. He's not a part of another society because they watch all the other societies. Um, it's also a really funny chapter. I love reading and also listening to the audiobook version of this because I think I catch other things that I haven't read, and Lauren Fortgang, who reads
It's
this.
amazing.
Yes, have you heard it? This
Yes.
Okay. It's to me it's hilarious, especially this chapter was really funny. The connotation that she gives Alex and then just and Walsh Whitley is it's amazing. I now fully understand because of Lauren Fortgang reading it how Lee always said like she said she thought when she wrote Ninth House that it was really funny. And at first I was like, "What?" But then when you actually listen to it like and you hear like some I don't know, just some little the connotation that Lauren can give it, it really is funny. There's some hilarious
Agreed.
moments. So, um okay, so for those of you out there who have not listened, I would definitely check it out. I think it's totally worth it. I, it's hilarious to me, hilarious. So, okay, so we talked about the Ouija board. That was a really funny part. And then Mercy doesn't come in until the next chapter. Is that correct?
Right. Right.
Oh,
Right.
and I know.
She sneaks up on Dawes and Alex while they're talking
Yes, and
and volunteers to be Sentinel.
right. And of course, Alex is like, no, you can't do this. But Mercy brings something to the table, which I find absolutely fascinating about this entire book. And is so Mercy knows um, about the Sterling Library a little bit better than I guess they missed something. They didn't know there was a room that because they're
Mhm.
still trying to connect the gauntlet and I'm just gonna say this because I know you agree. I want to walk the gauntlet so bad, and I think that would be so cool. I want to go see all this. I would love to just go in front of the library and see everything that Lee described because I know it's there, and I know I also shared with you how there's like Lee has an event coming up. It's titled Walk the Gauntlet, but I don't think they are doing that actually. I don't like it's titled that, but I don't know if they actually are. However, they should. That would be
They
such an
definitely
incredible
should.
tour. Oh my god.
They
I,
definitely should.
yeah, I would do it. I mean I want to so badly. And I've got to get I've been trying to find an actual like map and like a really good blueprint of the Sterling Library to like match all this stuff up, but I haven't been able to find one that I know is actually like that you can read well and also that is like true to like it's actually true. Like some of them I've seen like they just don't have enough information there to be able to figure it out. Um but I'm that kind of person that really wants to like see it
Mhm.
visually. So, um, okay, so yeah, we've got Mercy helping with and connecting the gauntlet, and it's just a room, right? And in
It's they have to go all the way. There's a central courtyard to Sterling Library, and they have to walk all the way around that courtyard, and they have to drop one person off basically at each entrance to the courtyard, and so the four of members of the team are all going to be stationed on either four sides, all four sides.
gotcha.
So that's what's got to happen, but they couldn't figure out a way to get through the librarian's office to get into the last room. And it
Yes.
turns out there's a secret door, and Mercy knows about it. But I
Yeah.
think there's an aspect of Mercy's wanting to help Alex because of what Alex did for her in Ninth House,
Yeah.
with that whole thing with the Merity and the video and all of that nastiness. Alex really got her through that when she could have given up. So I think
Yeah.
Mercy feels a real loyalty to Alex because Alex really had her back at that moment.
Yeah. Alex really did like come through for her and helped her out in a way that I don't think anybody else had gone to, and they hadn't. And what Mercy went through was extremely traumatizing, and I think having I can't remember the name of the other roommate that they have. But
Is it Lauren?
oh, well, the other roommate. It might be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, she didn't step up the way Alex did. And I think Alex surprised her with that. I think you're absolutely right that she feels like she owes something to Alex. However, I don't know if what she is stepping into really is even, it's just crazy what she's like gonna do. Like, I mean, like, because her job is to I don't know if do they bring it up yet? I don't know if they do.
They did.
They did? Okay.
They did.
So
They
they
bring
did
it up. She says, I'm in." She says, "I'll do it." That's how basically she makes herself known in that conversation.
okay. Yeah. That's a
She says, and she says, "And you kind of don't get to say no, right?
true. True.
Because you need some.
Yeah. Which
Who you're going to get?"
and it's helpful because I mean, they are looking for people. I mean, now they've got another one checked off the list. They still have to find another murderer. Um, but we're getting to that. And so I particularly love at the end of these chapters, and I know you do too, um, the Lethe Armory catalog.
As
And
revised and edited by Pamela Dawes, Oculus.
yeah,
I
those
love it. I love it.
so tell me, like, I mean, I know at the end of this chapter, for instance, we have the Knuckles of Shimshon. What do you know
Yes, the
about those?
Knuckles of Shimshon. Shimshon is the Hebrew name that we in English say Samson.
Oh, okay. Wow. I didn't even catch that. Okay. I had no clue. Shimshon.
Yeah,
Wow. Okay.
Shimshon. They're the Knuckles of Samson, and apparently the lore is that when Samson's hair that was cut off where his strength lied,
Okay.
that his hair was woven into this metal brass knuckles, and that's where the magic comes from. Is from Samson's hair.
Interesting.
And it's assumed. It says in the entry that it's assumed to be part of a set, but
Uh,
apparently they just have the one.
yeah, one for a good right hook or whatever.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. You can't do the combo
no,
with
you
it.
can't.
That'd be awesome. And it's Wolf's Head that donated them.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's these I love these little things in this catalog. I would love to recreate it almost. Like I think it'd be
Mhm.
really cool to see
Mhm.
almost with images of them. Like, see
Yeah,
I do
I
also
really. You know how Lee did the Lives of the Saints? I really want. I want a Procedures and Protocols of the Ninth House peripheral book. I want the Armory catalog. I love the Armory catalog
I
entry. I really do.
I agree. Have you looked at so like the different versions of Hellbent that came out? Did you by chance see the special one that Barnes and Noble came out with? Um it's a
I have seen it. I don't have it, but I have seen it.
Okay. Yeah, it's good. Just because the end has a special like I mean, it's okay, so I'm gonna admit, like I think I talked about this with Terry. I was really excited about this because I know that Barnes and Noble, when they have their exclusive editions, always add extra stuff. Well, this extra stuff actually happens to be mostly in Lee's handwriting. Love you, Lee, but girl, your handwriting is not easy to read. So I can't read it. I tried to read the first page and I kind of gave up. So I will I encourage you to get it. Just because I'm sure you would be able to translate it. Other people, Terry and I can't. Some of it is so hard to read. But the whole point of this is it's all segments of these, like the Lethe Armory catalog. It's even got the demonology book, the Lethe and different, like it's all just those segments. But she's got all
Mm.
these notes with it. If I could read them, it'd be great. But I have to get a little bit more time and just really go at it. But anyways, you should look at that because that's really cool. So I am trying to think what else goes on. So we've got Lethe Armory catalog. Oh,
So a lot of times when we have one of these Armory catalog episode little things, it's because it's going to be used in that chapter. And sure enough, she's using it to go out to collect money from the latest person Aton has sicked her on.
yeah, which is so weird. It's
Really weird.
that whole segment that I feel like I'm still getting used to Aton being in this book and still like being a part of it, and that she is doing, yeah, she's going and doing some dirty work for him. However, my confusion is like well, it's not really confusion. It's just it's weird that he's got her doing something so close to where she is. You know, I mean, it's not she's not flying back this time or anything. She's like actually not far from
New Haven.
Yale. But yeah, this is really weird. I this is the part of the book that I was very much surprised by, and I know everybody knows what we're talking about. We're talking about the vampire.
Yes. I did not have vampires on my bingo card for this book.
No, I did not either.
But when she goes to knock the vase off of the mantelpiece, and he like does super speed
Yes.
to catch it before it falls, I said, "Uh-oh." I've read enough vampire books to know I'm a big Anne Rice fan from way back.
Oh,
I know that when they move that fast, that's like the first thing you find out.
yes. I
brought this with me from China in 1932. I was like,
Yes.
oh no.
Huge hint. And I think I would like a vampire would be okay with me. I just wish he wasn't called a vampire. I wish she came up with some other name for some reason. I think it's just the word vampire sometimes gives me bad. I don't know. I agree. I love vampires from Anne Rice era and things like that. I'm not a big fan of what Twilight did to them. So
don't even get me started.
But I love what you just said because I just finished watching the Mayfair Witches, which
Oh, me too.
oh my God, such an incredible show.
So good.
And I started the new Interview with the Vampire show.
Also very good.
Yeah, it really is. I am so.
Have you read the books?
I have not. I've not read it, and that's what I was about to ask you. Like, is the Mayfair Witches like is it just like that? Is it that incredible? Like, I love that storyline.
Here's what I say about both of those series. They wildly depart from the books.
Okay.
Especially Interview with the Vampire. But and in fact, I started watching them waiting to hate them, but I just couldn't. They are not like the books.
Okay.
But they are very good.
Okay. So, because I've had this fascination of witches recently, I've just loved reading about them. I always had, like, I mean, American Horror Story, like the show, like I didn't get into, like I thought it was good, but when they did Coven, like I fell in love with it. Like I loved that season so much. I think it's just a fascination for me. So I wanted to look at Mayfair Witches, I know because Terry is a huge Anne Rice fan, huge, and she's
Yes.
an Interview with the Vampire. I think was like a book she read when she was probably like 6 or something. So,
Mhm.
um, but I that show is particularly, I think, incredible because, and I know we're departing from this, but hey,
It's
everybody
okay.
that's listening will love it anyways. You should, from what I'm understanding with the Interview with the Vampire show, is it's actually going like pretty much after the movie. Isn't this like as if the next step was happening, or am I misunderstanding? I
It's a reinterpretation of the story.
Okay, so it's
They,
not
they do it in a completely different time period.
right.
Uh, and the way the interviewer actually interplays in this story, it's as if they started the interview many, many years ago, and they're only now just getting back to it because he had walked out or something. It's very unlike the book,
So what?
but it's very good.
Yeah, I haven't read the book, but I saw the movie. I mean, come on, I've seen that movie over and over again. An amazing movie, Interview with the Vampire. So what I was thinking,
That movie is much more like the book.
okay, let,
Anne Rice fans that are listening out there are now screaming at me and hating me when I say that movie is like the book. I mean, in comparison
right,
with the AMC series.
yeah. So the AMC series, I felt like, at least what I was thinking is that the the interview that they're talking about that happened before was the movie, like what that interview. So in my head, I thought that maybe I was like, oh, well, that's kind of cool. They're like, that's in
It's
my
not.
head. It's not
Forget about that Neil Jordan film.
okay.
It's good.
Yes,
I like that film as well. Um, don't try to link them together.
don't.
They don't go.
Well, yeah. I mean, they
Just
look
watch
completely
it as
different.
what it is. Yeah.
So, okay, for those of you out there that are listening, obviously you need to put those books on your read list. I need to because I haven't read them, but also those shows. I haven't finished Interview with the Vampire yet, but it really is great. And Mayfair Witches is amazing. So, okay,
But
so
the Mayfair Witches series is better than the Vampire series.
oh my god, okay, I
The
love.
books.
Oh my god, I'm gonna check out the books. I really am. I want to. How many is that? I know Interview with the Vampire series is pretty long. Like, there's a lot of books with that, isn't there?
There's a lot of both of them, and then the
Oh,
worlds cross into each other later on.
interesting. I caught that actually in the show.
Hmm.
One I don't know which one it was. It was Interview with the Vampire. I catch that they say because they're in New Orleans and they say something about the Mayfair house, the house on Mayfair, like yeah, something.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then I was like, oh yeah, by the same author. Um, so so we should get back to Yale.
Yes, we should. Yes, we
Yes.
should.
Um,
So we're trying to beat up a vampire
right.
with brass knuckles.
And from what we already know about vampires, that doesn't sound like, I really actually at this point was like, I don't know if Alex can kill a vampire. Like, I don't know if this is gonna work out well. Um, and I was still in shock about the vampire. But yeah, it's weird. I still am also, I think, trying to get used to her, Alex, using the Greys as armor and using them as strength. And that is how she at least gets a little bit of headway in this battle that she has with this vampire, because she pulls a Grey into her that she's been like holding in the corners for a while. No, it's a school teacher who's down the block, and when she comes in, he's like sucking, like, I mean, I guess her blood then starts to taste like death.
Yeah.
That's so interesting to me.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
it's it's weird. And but she does get away. I
Sets
can't.
his house on fire.
Yes, that's right. Sets his house on fire, which we know. I mean, if he's a vampire, he's not gonna like that. And and she's got her school teacher with her, who also enlightens us that he actually has killed so many people, and they're all buried in is the backyard or something like there's hundreds of them. She
In
says,
the backyard or the garden or someplace.
yeah. Um, so we obviously know that this vampire has been there for a while, and also Aton lied to her. That's right, big thing. Yes,
Mm.
yeah. So
Yes, he didn't owe any money.
yes,
He just wanted Alex to eliminate him because somehow he thought she could.
right, and
She calls him and says, "You set me up." He says, "Alex, I thought you would win."
yes,
And
and
how many did you send before me? 7. Aton, with no remorse whatsoever, has sent 7 people out there to their deaths.
that's crazy. And it's not over money at all. It's actually over because apparently
Territory.
territory. So the vampire has he's obviously a drug dealer, apparently. Um everybody's
one
gotta
does.
eat. So um yeah, which is so she's pissed. Obviously, because we kind of are at this part, but the Mercedes, she accidentally, she begged Dawes to use Darlington's Mercedes and then forgets it. Well, not forgets it, leaves her keys in the.
Dawes is gonna be so mad.
Yeah.
Dawes is gonna be devastated.
I actually was thinking that Dawes was going to be more pissed at the Mercedes than like the actual event that happened. And because I could just see her like so zoomed in to just the fact that the Mercedes is gone. But yeah, it's nuts. And it also surprised me that in this chapter because she does get saved in a way. And who does she call? None.
Her.
Yeah. Did you see that coming? I didn't at all.
I did.
It's so surprising. I really did not think that she would call Turner and ask for help there. And she did. And second, he actually shows up. I didn't think I didn't think he would actually even do that. And this is
kind of a new thing for them. This is a new level in their relationship, I think.
I agree. That's exactly what I was about to say. Is like this is the part where I started to see there's a difference in the relationship they're having now. Like it's starting to blossom into something a little different than what we've read. It's always been Turner is here and he's very opposite of Alex, but I mean also wants to keep his distance, very much doesn't like Lethe, doesn't like magic or any part of it, and doesn't want to do anything with it. Only doesn't want to do any of it, but shows up when he has to. This shows that he actually cares enough for Alex to come and help her out when she asks for some help. And
yeah,
I love Turner so much as a character. I think it's more when we get further into this novel because he hasn't always been such he's been a specific character, but I mean, it's just his characteristics of, I don't know, he grows and their relationship grows. And I think that's amazing to see. And this is the starting point for sure.
Their relationship up to this point has been somewhat adversarial.
Good word for it. Yeah.
But I think every relationship with Alex Stern begins adversarial because she, like Turner says, you always come out swinging. And I think she does that with everybody because it's where she's come from.
Yeah.
It's a defense mechanism for her. She did it with Dawes, and then she and Dawes, their relationship formed.
Yeah. She did it with Darlington. I mean, she does it. It's just,
yes.
She has a very big, her walls are very high and very strong, and it's hard to get through that. And she's the one that slowly lets those down. And what I love about Alex so much is she's such an intricate character is we get to see, she puts on this front of being and she is very strong. She's a very strong character. She's very I don't know, she'll she'll really give it to you. Like she's a very strong person, but she also is she's had a very interesting and hard life, but she's a vulnerable person, and I think we start to read about some of those the vulnerabilities that she has, and I love that. I think it really opens up this character for us. Because Alex is such a well-written character. I really give it to Lee for, like, the the whole way she's just drawn out Alex's story for us. Um,
Yes.
it's I
It's everything. It's a murder mystery. It's a fish out of water story. It's magical realism. It's the whole thing.
Yeah, it is. I don't like, would you call this like a it's not horror, but I feel like someone said it was a horror book. Am I saying that right? It is like HO
Uh,
yeah,
HORR horror. I would
horror.
not.
Sorry.
It has creepy elements to it. Uh, it's definitely dark academia.
Yes.
It has that appeal. You know, Anyone who uh, uh, likes to deal with any sort of magic of any sort in a story, would be into that. I don't think it's horror though.
Okay. 'Cause that I agree with you. And I remember that when Ninth House was coming out, I don't know who it was or where I read it, but they were like it was saying that this was Lee's first adult novel, but also is a horror book. And I don't think I've ever read specifically a horror book. But
Ste-
anyways, I
No,
didn't
no Stephen King.
I have not no. I have not read
Really?
Stephen King. I tried when I was younger, but I couldn't. I tried Interview with the Vampire when I was younger, and I probably would have loved it if I would have probably given it a little bit more time. I had a very active ADD brain that now I actually can control, and now I love reading. But yeah, I have not. I also do not like to be scared. I hate haunted houses. I hate. Yeah, it's not my cup of tea. But in scary movies, oh my god, like actually scary. Like, no, no, not a.
Strangely enough, I'm not really that into it either.
Okay, good, good.
I'm not into the horror genre all that much. I find it difficult to get scared from a book. Uh,
True. Yeah.
Although, since we were talking about the Mayfair witches, there are a couple of times in that series that really creeped me out. I
Really.
will say that
Huh.
really made me look around the room.
Yeah.
Really, really creeped me out.
That's
Um,
such a good sign, though, of good
yeah, I
writing.
think so too. I think so too.
That's amazing. So we are like I think we're like almost to the halfway point in Hellbent, which really excites me. I can't believe it. Is there anything else that I'm leaving out of the chapters that we read? I feel like we've gotten the main
Well,
points.
Turner says he'll do it.
Oh, that's right. My God,
He'll be their fourth. He'll be the fourth murderer,
that is absolutely right. Yeah.
and that's huge.
It is huge. So now we've actually got everybody. Everybody's assembled. I forgot about that. Oh my god. I'm so glad you Thank you. Yes, massive. So, and I felt like he was really dragging the foot with that one. I felt like I knew he was going to eventually cave in when we started realizing after Alex asked him if he had ever killed anybody. I knew there's going to be no way that Turner was going to get out of it. He was going to somehow get roped into being that last murderer. And
Right.
it's fascinating. So we're finally going to actually be getting ready to go to hell. I know that when I first read this book, I couldn't wait to go to hell, and I felt like we were going to go right in the beginning, and then we kind of got a foot in and then went out.
Yeah.
Now
You got a
we're
bunch of horses.
yes. Although I love
We
that.
wrecked Skull and Key's temple room.
Yep. Those horses were so cool. I actually
That was pretty cool. That was a pretty cool scene.
it is. I cannot wait to see. They've got to do Ninth House first, but when Amazon actually starts to like film this and make the show, it's gonna be well done and it's gonna be beautiful. I can't wait to see some of this stuff.
I read a recent article on that actually that said they have a pilot shot.
What? Really?
Yes.
Okay, that is so interesting.
And that beyond the fact that it is this they were quoting Lee on this, and that beyond the fact that it exists, unless I'm misreading it, maybe what they have is the script for the pilot.
Okay.
But that's still huge
It
in
is.
Hollywood. That's a huge development because things will sit around forever in development before
Yes.
they ever actually. And a lot of things die in development, just never get made.
Yeah.
A lot of things died during COVID that never got made just because they couldn't shoot them. But that beyond that there was nothing else they could say. They couldn't say anything about casting. They couldn't say anything about anything.
Wow. Amazon bought the rights to Ninth House the day it dropped, which I thought was fascinating. Like the book, I just thought that was very cool. Just because, come on, the day a book like actually gets released, Amazon buys the rights to it to make a show. And however, that was right before COVID. So, and then
Right.
COVID hit, and everything got
rethought.
Exactly. We're lucky we actually have Shadow and Bone season 1 now. I never thought we were going to get that. But yeah, well, thank you so much, Joseph. I had such a great time doing this, and I hope you have. So before we go, can you tell people where they can find you? Are you on social media or have a website?
I am on social media. You can get my website at tarotbyjoseph.com, and you can get to my other social medias from there, but they're all at Tarot by Joseph. That's my Instagram, that's my Facebook. If you want to connect with me there, I do. If anyone's interested in getting me to read for them, I do readings online via Zoom as well as in person. So if you want to get insight that way, I'm here to do it.
Absolutely. That's incredible. And because I've talked on the show about how okay, tarot I can't read. I wish I could, but I haven't taken.
You can.
I'm sure you're right. I haven't given it enough time to sit down. There were a lot of cards when I first started looking at it, but then I found Lenormand, and now that is like my obsession. So
Lenormand is great.
I love it. And I have not mastered Lenormand at all, but I have so much fun doing it.
I actually was read with Lenormand cards myself not long ago.
Yeah.
A local person who actually I put them in touch with one of the shops I read in, which is basically an herbal shop.
Okay.
Medicinal herbs and also teas.
Wow.
And this lady reads tea leaves as well as
incredible.
And so I put her in touch with the shop that I read in because they actually have tea. So she's going to do some tea leaf reading events there. It's going to be really cool.
That's amazing. Oh my God. I would love to. I'd love to learn more about tea reading because I think that's so fascinating. Because I feel like everything. I know Lenormand, the cards and the different symbols are based off of reading tea leaves. I think that's so cool, and I don't know, it makes sense. Well, you guys know where to find us. If you'd definitely go to Joseph for a reading because I know that he will be phenomenal. And we will definitely, you'll have to come back on, especially when Terry's on, so you guys can talk about Anne Rice.
Absolutely.
Because she's going to kill me.
It'll be a whole different podcast.
Yeah, you're right. We have to be careful. We might need to have to make it one of those special episodes where we discuss all the other books we are reading. But real quickly, actually, before we go, what are you reading right now? Are you reading anything like?
I am reading in fiction. I am doing the third. I'm in the third book of the Shades of Magic series by Schwab that you turned me on to. So good.
So excited for you.
So very good. And I'm reading a lot of nonfiction right now about an old magical order, kind of Masonic, but like magic Masonic, called the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn.
Oh, wow.
That was around the turn of the 20th century, and so I'm reading some books about that group and the way they did what they did.
Wow.
Because there's so much that we do today that is descended from that.
Yeah.
And I actually started watching, and I wondered when I started watching it. I actually started watching it today. I wondered if you were watching this, the Netflix series called The Order.
Oh, yes. That show's been out like that. I feel like there's 2 seasons of that.
Yeah, there are 2 seasons of it.
Yes. Watch the first one. I think was very close to finishing the second one with Chris, but for some reason I don't think we finished it for some reason. But I definitely thank you for reminding me. That is a really good show. There's some oh my god, there's some really good shit. Like I just realized we're about to go on forever. I was going to ask you if you ever watched Salem because I was obsessed with that show.
I did not watch that.
Oh, you have to give that a shot. It's not on Netflix anymore, unfortunately, but you would.
But you were talking about American Horror Story Coven. That's the one that takes place in New Orleans, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Correct. You know, all those people were real people.
Yeah, I found that out later.
Delphine Lalaurie was a real person who really did a lot of bad stuff.
That's so cool.
I actually went on a tour with a friend of mine who does tours in New Orleans, and I just wanted to support her while I was there. I spend a weekend in New Orleans a few times a year. I lived in New Orleans for 8 years. I don't know if I told you that. It was back in the 90s. But I went on her tour because I support my friends, and she took us to the Lalaurie house, and we stayed out there way too long, and I started literally feeling nauseous just from the energy of the house.
Wow.
Yeah. Bad.
That is creepy. That's so cool, though. I love that I love it when the real people are part of stories, and like you find, like, I love.
And real places. That's one of the reasons we love this book, because it's a real place. We could actually go there.
Exactly. And we're going to have to do that sometime. So
yeah, I know New Haven, Connecticut was never on my list of places to visit, but it definitely is now.
Right? I know. I never thought I would ever have that on my bucket list, but now I do. So, okay. Well, thank you again so much, Joseph. This has been such a pleasure for me, and I know our listeners are going to love it, and you will definitely be coming back and discussing more with us. So, listeners, I hope you all enjoyed this fantastic episode. Terry will be back with us next episode. And next episode, what are we covering? Drum roll. Yes, it is finally here. We are going to be covering the first episode of Season 2, Shadow and Bone, dropping on Netflix March 16th. So I know we all are excited, and yeah, so we will be covering that. That will be coming out in the next couple days. So, anyways, excited for everyone, and yeah, we love you all, and we will see you next time. Long live the Grishaverse.
Like, we're at the end of the hour, so my voice is a little husky. A+.
No mourners.
No funerals.
This has been GrishaCast. Connect with us on the web at GrishaCast.com. Send an email to info@GrishaCast.com. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok at GrishaCast. And thank you to our amazing staff, Alex, Michelle, Amber, and Chris.